This video is a very special video because it's my 100th video I'm posting on this channel, and I started this channel probably a decade ago, but I didn't properly show my face until about 5 years ago with a video titled My Vinyl Collection and Setup 2017. And since then I've never done a proper full vinyl collection video, and it's now been 5 years and my vinyl collection has grown so much. So to commemorate my 100th video on this channel, which I'm very proud of myself to even get to this point, I'm going to celebrate with a proper vinyl collection and setup video and reflect upon how much my collection has grown and my channel and me. Let's get into it. So firstly, I just want to point out my setup, which is quite simple. I used to have an all-in-one system in 2017, and I now have this setup right here. So I have Edifier 1700 BTs, I believe they're called, which are like the speakers I use. And I also have an Audio-Technica LP120X USB. I hope that was in the right order, but you get what I mean. I've got the 120 Audio-Technica. This is a simple setup, but if I really reflect upon having an all-in-one system to what I have now, I am extremely proud once again of where I'm at. It's great because I'm listening to my records with a lot more peace now than I was 5 years ago, knowing that I'm probably not ruining them as much as I used to. When it comes to my collection, let's get into it. I've got 172 records now. I have mostly 12 inches, one 10 inch, and several 7 inches. Honestly, right now my record collection is not in any proper order. It's mostly going to be out of order, but we're just going to go through them one by one. Firstly, we have Daft Punk's Discovery from 2001, one of my favorite albums of all time. I think it is number 4 on my list currently, and it is my favorite electronic album ever. Next, we have probably the album I've listened to on wax the most in the last year or so, and that would be Adrienne Lenker's songs and instrumentals. She's a singer-songwriter, she's amazing, I love her, and this album has been one of my favorite albums, and it came out in 2020. Next, we have a jazz album. I've really been trying to collect more and more jazz in the last few years. I didn't really have any jazz back in 2017, I believe. I might have had one maybe, and this is Charles Mingus's Mingus Also, one of the most expensive records I've ever bought in my entire life. And, you know, lessons have been learnt. I would never do this again. But I got Fiona Apple's Fetch the Bolt Cutters, which is one of my favorite albums also from the last few years. A record store day pick that I recently got is Pinata, Freddie Gibbs and Madlib, one of my favorite albums of all time as well. And this is the 1974 version. An album I would have had back in 2017. A classic. It is Talking Heads, Remain in Light. Nothing more needs to be said. This shares the top spot of my favorite jazz album of all time, along with one other, which I'll get to eventually because it's also in my collection. But this is the Dave Brubeck Quartet's Time Out. Another favorite album of mine. Wow, we're really getting through the good ones here. This is Devo's Q Are We Not Men, A We're Devo. This is top 10. DJ Shadows introducing. Our birthdays are both in 1996, so we're twins. A soundtrack I recently got because I'm also trying to collect more soundtracks, and that is Pulp Fiction's soundtrack. So this is obviously the Quentin Tarantino film, one of my favorite directors ever. And then also a record that the lovely Chris got me, one of my subscribers, The Beatles. Number ones. I'm not going to point at every single record that Chris got me, but I remember which ones you got me, Chris. Next, a band that I love. They're always on my Spotify Wrapped. I just filled my Spotify Wrapped, and I was reminded of how much I listen to these guys. I listen to them constantly, and they're my favorite study music, and that is Queens of the Stone Age, and this is my favorite album by them, Like Clockwork. A grunge classic, Nirvana. Nevermind. This is my favorite Nirvana album, and it's starting to split at the top. Oh my god, I gotta put this guy in a sleeve. I'm putting him to the side. My favorite compilation album of all time. You know what it is. It's Hatful of Hollow, The Smiths. One of my favorite albums to come out in 2020. It is Unlocked by Denzel Curry and Kenny Beats. This is full of energy. Another album that I throw on a lot, actually, is Parquet Court's Wide Awake. The B-52s, an essential for any new wave fan. Harvest by Neil Young. This is the oldest album I own, I believe. But also, maybe it wouldn't be anymore. But at some point it was. This album was my favorite album of 2020. Maybe Adrienne Lenker beat it, but I love this album. It's How I'm Feeling Now by Charli XCX. She's one of my favorite pop artists right now. I think she's amazing. She's doing incredible things. These are my dudes. Here we are. Kid A, by Radiohead. We're going to see a lot of Radiohead in this video, get ready. And my favorite metal band, my favorite heavy metal band is Black Sabbath. I love them, and this is Paranoid, my favorite album by them so far. I haven't listened to all their stuff yet though. Next, an album that I also need a sleeve, and this record actually can go for quite a lot, so I need to look after it better. But this is Childish Gambino's Because the Internet. The classic, Untitled, number 4 by Led Zeppelin, my favorite Zepp album. My favorite Nas album. I mean, who else would have a different favorite Nas album? It's Illmatic, the best of ABBA. I believe I have 2 copies of this, so you'll see this one again. Alt J's An Awesome Wave. This album I actually bought while I was over in America in my early 20s. I think I would have shown this in 2017. I think I already owned it, or I would have just gotten it. Ooh, another favorite album of mine. It is Arcade Fire, Funeral. One of my favorite bands that I recently saw live as well, one of my favorite Australian bands, Tame Impala, and this is Slow Rush, their newest release. And I have a double LP of this. I gotta show it every time. It's my favorite color. Dark green, olive green is my favorite color. This is a bit darker than my favorite color, but it is the closest I've ever gotten. Beautiful. A couple of amazing records that, I mean, I've received a lot of records from my auntie, as I've mentioned a lot on this channel. She gifted me with a lot of her old records from like the 70s and 80s, and these 2 are like some of the holy grails I received from her. And the first one is Unknown Pleasures by Joy Division, and also The Queen is Dead by the Smiths. This is also my favorite color. And then really bring it over to the other side of the spectrum of my music taste. This is Goblin by Tyler, Creator. My second favorite album of all time, it is Turn on the Bright Lights by Interpol. This is post-punk, 2001. This is magnificent. And my favorite album of all time is right next to it, and that is In Rainbows by Radiohead. I've actually sleeved this guy properly because I really care about him. I completely ruined the CD of In Rainbows that I owned, so don't want to make the same mistake. The band that has defined the last couple years for me is IDLES, and this is Brutalism, their debut, which is my favorite album by them. Also have XX by the XX, which is their debut. I really love this album, and I love that it's a cutout. Do you see that on the side? This was gifted to me by my stepdad, and I love this album so much. One of my favorite records in my whole entire collection. It is The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill by Lauryn Hill. I received this through my auntie, this one, and this is Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. I think this is an Australian original. She received it for $7 back in the day. Wow, records used to be so cheap. Leaders of the Pack is a birthday present I received from a friend last year. Dan Lowe and the Fellow Travelers Rising. My dad used to be in this band. Time Further Out, the Dave Brubeck Quartet. This is the follow-up, obviously, to Time Out, and is in horrible condition. Plastic Fantastic is a record my auntie got me, and I think it's from like the 90s. I think it's electronic music. She gave me a lot of like 1998 EDM singles for some reason. I actually have something organized for once, and I have a few Devo records in a row. So here I have Devo Live, and I also have The New Traditionalists. I believe this is called, yep. And I also have, oh no, it's Devo. My dad really loves Devo. That's how I got into them. Another band that my dad got me into when I was younger, and it's Died Pretty. This is an Australian rock band, and this album is called Every Brilliant Eye. Also got The Best of the Doors. I really don't love this album cover. Every time I see it, I'm like, but the music's really good. This is another Australian band that my dad got me into when I was younger, and this is The Drones, and the album is called Feeling Kinda Free. It is my favorite album by them. I still can't get over the fact that I bought this record not knowing that it was on white vinyl. And it's so, oh my god, this looks amazing. I've never listened to this album. Tell me if I should, because I know my dad likes them, and I think I got this off my auntie, so it's 2 for 2. It's Echo and the Bunnymen, Porcupine. Is it good? Got another 2 Fleetwood Macs here. So firstly, I have a Record Store Day pick, which is the alternate Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. And then I also have just Fleetwood Mac as well, which is like the original pressing in Australia, I believe, here. In my top 10 albums as well is Rainbows Rising. This album rules, and I'm so happy I discovered it in the last 5 years. Stargaze is one of my favorite songs of all time. Wait, would this be in my top 10 albums? I know Stargaze is in my top 10 songs, but I would believe Rising would be in my top albums, maybe top 30. And I also have Rank by the Smiths, which is a live album, and my auntie gave me a lot of Smiths, so you will see more and more of them very soon. Next record is another Record Store Day purchase I got, which I went for a bit of a phase of Record Store Day. I'm not really into it anymore. Like I didn't participate at all this year, but a couple of years ago I was pretty into it, and I got Sugar Hill Gang 40th anniversary edition. This is on yellow wax, limited edition of 2000. I'm not gonna get it out. Keep that Queens coming. It's Villains, which is one of their newer records. Is this their latest release? I believe it is, and I actually liked it. Not my favorite by them, but I didn't mind it. Also have like just one record that doesn't have a proper sleeve, that doesn't have the proper packaging, and it is The Police, Zenyatta Mondata. I have a couple of Pixie records, which I actually believe go for quite a lot. This is Surfer Rosa by the Pixies, and this is Pixies' Bad 805. A record that Victor, my subscriber, sent me is Speak of the Devil by Ozzy Osbourne. He's like my favorite frontman of any heavy metal band. I think he's amazing. He's so funny. Also got a bit of Nick Cave here, who is like the king of Australian music, and this is Firstborn is Dead. I believe another 1998 like EDM single that my auntie gave me. It's Next Generation Forever. And we've got a few Smiths in a row. We've got The World Won't Listen, which actually is quite valuable. I've also got their self-titled, and then I've got like an interview picture disc. It's like my only picture disc that I own. Not a big fan of them, but they're quite popular. My auntie had them, and is Simon and Garfunkel. This is the concert in Central Park. Got some Sushi and the Banshees. So I keep calling it sushi. It's not sushi, it's Susie. Oh my god. Susie and the Banshees. I have not listened to like a proper record by them at all, or really like delved into them yet, but do plan to. This is a copy of Drunk Tank Pink by Shame, who is like a post-punk band that I am into. Their recent stuff, their recent releases, and this came with like a signed poster, which I thought was really cool. It's so cute, and it matches my microphone. Another 1998 EDM single, it's ROOS, Instant Moments. Got Rolled Gold here, the very best of the Rolling Stones. Not a big Rolling Stones fan, but I own it. Green by R.E.M. This album, I think my dad really likes them, but honestly I haven't listened to it yet. But I do love a few R.E.M. songs, like a lot. It's just that I haven't really properly listened to them yet, but I probably should, because I know my dad likes them, and me and my dad have very similar taste. Also, when I discovered Rainbow, I was really excited. I picked up the Best of Rainbow. This is 1981 German pressing, double LP. Got it for $25. An album that showed up in my most recent vinyl collection update video was Romero's Turn It On, which is like a local Australian act. Also recently got Idol's second album, which is Joy as an Act of Resistance. Really like this album too. I like every album they put out. I've got two Smiths albums here. I have Strange Ways, Here We Come. And actually, the second one here is not an album, but it is a 12-inch single, and it is, some of you think you've heard this one before, by the Smiths, and I think this is the most valuable record I own. It's like $200 to $300, I believe. Also got Bon Iver. Got another jazz record here. I have Art Blakey's A Night at Birdland, as well as Meat is Murder by the Smiths. Meat is Murder. That's a throwback to 2017. Also got True Colors by Split Enz. I have obviously the red, blue, and yellow cover of it. Would I love to own the other covers? Yes, I would. High Voltage by AC/DC or Akadaka. An album that is one of my most listened to albums, like in my whole entire collection, is Sufjan Stevens, Curry and Lowell. This is his best album. I've also got Suspiria here by Tom York. This is, I believe, Blue Wax. On a pink vinyl. I have another pink vinyl here. I'm not going to open this one up, but I really love how this sort of has like a matte finish to it, like the front. It's not shiny. Like I've obviously got the plastic on it, but behind it, it's like got this matte finish, and honestly just absolutely love the graphic design here. I am a bit of a graphic design nerd, and this is the best. Also got Deep Purple's In Rock. Definitely gonna react to this one soon. Come on. Ton Up Pirates, Our Dirt Road So Far. This was one of my dad's bands when he was in his 20s. And speaking of my dad, here is Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells. This is like a dad record. He loves it. We're about halfway, so let's do a little quick interlude and talk about my 10-inch and the 7 inches I own. And the first record is the 10 10-inch, which is Amnesiac by Radiohead. This is pressed in the US in 2016. This is the cutest little thing I've ever seen. Have I played it yet? No. I believe my record player can play 10 inches, but I just need to figure it out, and I eventually will do that. I think I should actually do that soon. I'm starting to feel like it's time. But honestly, I love my 10-inch record, and I want to own more. I feel like it's such a nice size. I think it's my favorite record size, and I only own one. Anyway, just gonna quickly jump through all my 7 inches. So first I've got The First Boy on the Moon. I've also got Bulls on Parade, Denzel Curry. This was a Record Store Day release. I've also got Swell, Burning Candles. I've got Tony Basil, Mickey. Yeah, Mickey is so fun. I've got Morrissey's Yes, I Am Blind. Got Ton Up Pirates, Therefore I Am, which is my dad's band from his 20s. This is Iggy Pop, Living on the Edge of the Night. The Weeping Song by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, which is one of my favorite Nick Cave songs. And I've also got Sanford the Great's Wii U and Deal With It. And this actually goes for a lot now, but I bought it for like $10. She is like an Australian artist, by the way. She's really good. She's a very good hip hop R&B artist. This is an album that I am personally acquainted with now because I recently listened to it for the first time, and that is Portishead's Dummy. I'm not going to tell you what I thought about it because I may have filmed my reaction, so you'll see that soon. Also got Radiohead's The Bends. Bring it back to old Radiohead, the rockin' days. And then the other side of Radiohead is A Moon-Shaped Pool, their newest record. Really love this record too. Honestly, really like everything they bring out. Maybe apart from King of Limbs, but yeah, I've already got a few people I'm arguing with about King of Limbs in my life, so don't start arguing with me in the comments about King of Limbs. Got Leon Bridges' Coming Home, which is one of the newest records I've gotten in my collection. And the other new record I've also got is Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino. This is probably one of my favorites in my collection in regards to just owning something on record. I think this is very, very stunning. First Ghibli record that we're seeing here, this is Totoro's soundtrack. I've now recently found out since my vinyl update video that I recently did, where I talked about this maybe being the Image album. It's actually the OST. It is the original soundtrack on here, so I'm very happy to own this, and I don't need to get any other Totoro record. I'm good. My sister got me this for my birthday recently. It matches the mic. A bootleg that I have on Clear Wax, Frank Ocean's Nostalgia Ultra, and this record does not sound very good, sadly. My other favorite jazz album, along with the Dave Brubeck, would be Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. I got this on Blue Wax as well. Another Studio Ghibli record I have is Howl's Moving Castle OST, like original soundtrack. All these are like soundtracks of some of my favorite anime movies by Hayao Miyazaki, who is my favorite director of all time. Also got Louder Than Bombs by the Smiths. The Smiths that just sprinkled throughout this whole entire collection, like they should be. An album that I would like to react to soon is the self-titled Iron Maiden album that I've got here on record. Give me all the Paul Di'Anno. And this is Electric Light Orchestra, Out of the Blue, which is another record that I've hauled in the past year. I got this secondhand for like $20. And I will check it out. I saw a few people commented on my most recent vinyl update video and said, like, you'll like it. So I'm excited to listen to it. And the other two records that I showed in my recent vinyl update would have been The Sound of Music as original soundtrack, you know, trying to collect those soundtracks. And then I also have here Fiesta by Herb Alpert and Tijuana Brass. This is my dad's obsession in life. Herb Alpert. An album that I haven't listened to yet. That'd be really fun actually to react to. This is Junkyard, The Birthday Party, which is a band Nick Cave used to be in. Also got Black Sabbath's original debut album, self-titled. I've got Blood, Sweat and Tears here. I actually have not listened to this yet, but I mean to. I've also got For Emma, Forever Ago, Bon Iver. This is my favorite Bon Iver album, their debut. One of my favorite albums of all time is Ambient One, Music for Airports by Brian Eno. Brian Eno is my ambient god. He is so good. I'm also really getting into like a lot more Japanese ambient music, which I'm listening to on YouTube because it doesn't happen to be on Spotify a lot of the time. So I really want to get that music on either record or CD because I just feel like listening to stuff on YouTube isn't concrete enough for me. I want to either be listening to it on Spotify and have it saved, have it on record, or have it on CD. So I'm hoping to pick up a lot more Japanese ambient music in the near future. I've also got Tapestry by Carole King. I have never listened to this album as well. I know, I probably look really bad right now, but my auntie, like, when she gave me a bunch of records from, like, when she was younger, she gave me, like, 50 to 60 records, and it was a bit overwhelming to like listen to all of them. But I think it is time to listen to this record because I know that this is quite iconic. Like I probably have already heard songs off of it, I just don't realize. I've also got Tea for the Tillerman by Cat Stevens, which I've also never listened to. What do you think? Should I listen to these albums? Also have Chicago's Transit Authority here, which I haven't listened to yet as well. There's a few records here in a row that I haven't gotten around to yet. I try to put them together because I know they're the ones I still need to get around to. So let me know if you think any of these would be like worth my time to throw on like really quickly. If not, I'll get around to them soon anyways. And this is also the other record I really want to listen to soon, and it's Chick Corea's Now He Sings, Now He Sobs. I have a feeling I'm actually really gonna like this one. Another 1998 EDM single that my auntie got me is Classified Project Resurrection. This is Cosmic Psycho's Down the Farm, and it's on brown wax, which I sort of like, honestly. I don't have any brown wax apart from this record. It's sort of cool. I also now have a bunch of Cure that my auntie gave me through her collection, which I'm just gonna go through quickly now. She has a lot of it. She's a big Cure fan. This is Japanese Whispers, which is the Cure singles November 82 to November 83. I also have Three Imaginary Boys by The Cure. I've got The Top. I've got Faith. I have Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. I have, oh my god, Too Much is what I have. No, you can't have too much Cure. That doesn't exist. And I also have Disintegration, which is my favorite album by them, easily. Bitches of You and Love Song. I will die on that hill. And then also The Head on the Door as well. Also have D'Angelo live at the Jazz Cafe London. I got this on clearance for $20. Turned out it's actually worth a lot more than that. One of the corners was folded a little bit, but like hardly. I had to really look closely to see it, and I honestly would have bought it for more. I honestly wouldn't have noticed. But I see it now that I pointed it out, I notice. But yeah, this record really taught me the fun of just digging and coming across a good find. Like, it's actually quite exciting to pay less than what it's actually worth. And it happened one time for me with this record. Also have Louis Armstrong's Greatest Hits recorded. Also have a couple of Morrissey here. So I have November Spawned a Monster, and I also have Viva Hate. My second favorite album by one of my favorite bands, Interpol, would be Antics, which is their second album after Turn on the Bright Lights. Another album my auntie gave me was Gang of Four Entertainment. This was not given to me in great condition at all, but she got it for $8 Australian, which is quite amazing. But yeah, like the spine is like completely open, like cracked open. So I've tried to get that record outside of that outer sleeve, but I don't know, the outer sleeve is sort of gone at this point. It'd actually be worth quite a lot if it was in good condition, but that's okay. Oh no, have I listened to this album yet? Either I have and I like it, or I haven't and I think I will like it. One of my favorite albums of all time. Trouble Will Find Me by The National. Really good album. Very good band for someone who likes sad music. Also have the Virginia EP by The National as well. This is also the best of ABBA, but it's the one that's not in as great condition. There's a bear in there, and a sun is there. This is a little bit of my childhood, my Australian childhood, and it is There's a Bear in There, songs from ABC Play School. This is like one of the Australian kids shows I used to watch growing up. Now for all of the Joy Division that my auntie gave me, apart from Unknown Pleasures, which was separate, it was in a different spot, but this is Closer. And I've also got a bootleg under the name Warsaw, like originally what Joy Division were called, I think, before Joy Division. And this is just, I don't know, some songs. Like, a lot of them are Joy Division songs, but it's under the name Warsaw. It's a bootleg. And then I've also got 2 Peel Sessions by Joy Division. I've got that one. And I also have this one. And I also have Substance, which I really love. I love this compilation. This is 1977 to 1980. And then I also have Control. No, Still. Of course, this is Still by Joy Division. The first Japanese pressing and Obi strip I ever owned is Caught in the Crimson King by King Crimson. When I first received it, it was like the happiest day of my life. I have now received quite a lot of Obi strips and quite a lot of Japanese pressings since then, but this was the start of it all. And I'm hoping to go to Japan next year and buy a lot more Japanese wax. Love this album. This is in my top 10 albums of all time. Amazing prog rock. Also have my last debut Breck record that we will see today, Time Changes. These are the 2 King Gizzard records I own. I would love to own more King Gizzard. I need to just like put a bit more intention into that and like properly find their older records that I really like. But I've got Polygon Wonderland, And this is on like this beautiful splatter, this like yellow and blue splatter. I've got Chunky Shrapnels by King Gizzard as well here. And then a record I bought while I was in America, maybe back in 2017 or so, or 2016, and it's Bee Gees' Greatest Hits. And I'm very happy I own this. This reminds me of a great time in my life. I got this for $8. I remember like doing secondhand shopping over in America and just thinking like, wow, the amount of range they have over here is incredible compared to Australia. We have Porco Rosso's OST. This is another Studio Ghibli movie. This is my favorite Miyazaki movie. Also have Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age, which is probably objectively their best album, or like my second favorite album. I just have a lot more emotional pull towards like Clockwork, but this is also an amazing album. I've also got a triple LP here. I've got D-Sides by Gorillaz, which I got for a record store day back in 2020, I think. One of my favorite graphic designs, once again with this cover, but this is Miles Davis and his orchestra, The Complete Birth of Cool. I also have the soundtrack for The Great Gatsby, 74. I also have El Pintor remixes by Interpol. So dumb how I ended up with this. I didn't mean to get the remixes version, but I was being dumb that day. I've told the story in another video, so go watch all my videos if you want to find out how I ended up doing that, but yeah. Sort of embarrassing. And also the other Interpol album I have is Marauder, which was kindly gifted to me by another YouTuber, Christina, over at The Vinyl Guru. She sent me this record. Also have Jack's World Spit the Dummy. This is off my dad. Oh no, this is off my auntie, but my dad also owns this. I have no idea anything about this record. I would think it's Australian rock though. Also have the Spirited Away soundtrack here. This is so cute. This is the first Studio Ghibli soundtrack I owned, so this one's very special to me. I remember when I first opened it up and looked at it, I couldn't believe my eyes. Wow. John Coltrane, Both Directions at Once, the Lost album. Also got Janis Jop in concert. Janis Joppy, let's go. This is Missy Elliott and Little Kim with Hit 'Em With the He, which is like a single, I think. And then I also have another single, I believe, here. I think this is New Order. Touched by the Hand of God, New Order. And the other New Order record I own is Fact 50, 1981 Movement. Also have here a little bit of country. I don't own much country. I would love to own more. I want to get more into that genre. But I own here my favorite country artist, who is Johnny Cash. And this is Ring of Fire, the best of Johnny Cash. Also have another Herb Alpert here. I've got Going Places, which is apparently meant to be the one to start with. I have two Tracy Chapman records here. I have Crossroads, and I believe this is her self-titled. These were given to me by my auntie as well. Also have an Australian like compilation album of Uriah Heep. They called it Down Under. There you go. There's my strong Australian accent. My third last record here is Violent Femmes. I only know the one song. Like you would know what that song is. Just like the most popular one off this album, whatever was the big hit. I've never actually listened to the whole thing. I received this album off my auntie, so yeah, it was in that big chunk. So I've owned that for a while. A compilation album that my first boyfriend I ever was with gifted to me for one of my birthdays. I think it was for my 21st. Radiohead, Father John Misty, Swans, Daft Punk, Pink Floyd, Daniel Caesar, yeah. Some really good artists. And then also my last record I own here is All the Best from Scotland. Yeah, which is another compilation album, I believe. Both sides of my family are mostly from Scotland. But yeah, I thought I would own this record just as like a nod to my grandparents. I think it's really cute. And yeah, that's all my records I own. That's 172 records, I hope. Like, don't tell me that wasn't 172, because then I'm missing one, or I told you about one twice. I don't know what's happening. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that was fun for you for my 100th video. It was definitely very fun for me to go through all these records. It was very nostalgic to hold up some of these records that I held up 5 years ago now, and some records that I held up that I've only received like this year. And I don't like to get sentimental too much, but thank you very much if you've been watching for a very long time. I know there's some subscribers that have been watching all the way back from the start, which is so, like, I can't even comprehend it, that people would want to watch that many minutes of me. It's very touching, but yeah, I don't particularly like to focus too much on the fact that people like to watch me. It's weird to me. I just like to talk about music and books, and I love to edit videos, and I love to put cute thumbnails together. So thank you for enjoying the other side of that, which is actually consuming all that content. I love to create it. It's a very symbiotic relationship we've got going on. So yeah, thank you for being that part of it, for watching my content. I remember when I first posted that 2017 record collection video, I said no one's going to watch this, maybe just me and my boyfriend. And then it now has like 17,000 views, or maybe 20,000 views now at this point. I can't even remember. It's a lot of views. This whole channel has a lot of views, way more than I would have ever thought. So it's just very touching and flattering. So thank you. And I now know, posting this video, that probably at least 1,000 people are gonna watch it, you know, which is like so different to how I felt 5 years ago. It's crazy. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you very soon for another talk from me in the near future. Okay, bye-bye.